Hello there, YouTube, and welcome to a late night but amazing car boot haul video. It's been a long time since I felt I had such a good day at the car boot, but yeah, today was a good day. So we're going to tear through it as quick as we can because I've got to get to bed. So first thing we found today was this massive pile of comic books. This was the first row as I walked down, and someone looked at them. You could see the Astonishing X-Men at the top of one bag and Essential X-Men in the next, and they sort of looked at the comics and walked off. I said, "How much are your comics?" And he went, "They're £5 a bag." So I went, "You know what? I'm not even going to look. I can see these on the top. I don't know how many there is. I don't know what else is there, but for a fiver, I'll have them all." So there is a load of Astonishing Spider-Mans. That is a big stack of Astonishing Spider-Mans. There's a big stack of Essential X-Men. These are all like 1999 sort of era. So when I was not quite collecting comics anymore, but still somewhat interested. There's a few oddities, like this Jackie Chan weird comic book, an Excalibur one, some X-Men little tie-in thing there. The Mask, which is pretty cool. Definitely going to keep that one. Thunderbirds, which we're going to give to car boot collectors, seeing as he's a big Jerry Anderson fan. There's a couple of these Havocs featuring RoboCop. There's a cool X-Men one. I really like that. That's different from the Essential one. There's another of those X-Men ones. This one's very cool. This is Havoc, but with a K instead of a C. Your free guide to a savage new universe. And on the back, you can see they're like minifigures, like Warhammer size. So those guys look cool. I might see if I can, if they don't have guns, I might see if I can get some of these for Dungeons and Dragons, because they look pretty cool. But if they have guns, they'll be no good for me. Then another Havoc, a couple of Wolverines that have seen better shape, some weird Batman postcards that look like they've got a bit of age to them. They had this Galaxy Rangers annual, which feels like it's sort of a bit peely at the back. Some of these Batman ones, these are papery. Don't know quite what the deal is with those, but there's a decent stack of Batman ones there as well. And then a couple at the bottom are like Batman the magazine or something, so they're a bit different from the other ones. They're not papery, so who knows. And then there's this big stack at the back here. These are all 2000 AD. From my knowledge, which isn't always, the best, but from my knowledge, 2000 AD is pretty rubbish. It doesn't really go very well. But the Batmans, the Havocs, the Excaliburs, all the X-Men, all the Spider-Man, it's got to be worth a tenner for that big job lot, at least in my mind. Right, next thing we bought for a fiver was this giant Pickle Rick. Try and hold him up so you get some idea of scale. He is pretty damn big. It is an official thing, but it looks like there was another part to the tag that someone cut off. I would imagine I can flog it for more than a fiver on like Facebook Marketplace or something because it's so big, but who knows. Right, where do we go to next? So this fella had separated all his Lego to minifigures, and then another batch which was all bricks. And I asked how much the minifigures were, and his wife said fiver for the bag. I don't know how many's in there, maybe 50? I don't know, but they were pretty cheap, so we bought a big bag of Lego minifigures. Same lady had some Micro Machines. Now I'm guessing these are modern, because I don't ever remember Micro Machines flashing, but I could be wrong. So yeah, I bought that bag of Micro Machines for £2. Don't think there's quite 20 in there. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There's only 12, so not quite 10p each, but still cheap enough. Bought this little fella for £1. Fella also had a bootleg turtle that he wanted £1 for, and then he had one of the lanterns from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the third movie figurine. So I asked him what he wanted for that, the bootleg turtle and the other thing, thinking he'd go, £2 for the 3. And he went a fiver, and I was like, I thought they were £1 each, and he was like, yeah, but that lantern thing, that's worth £30 on eBay. So I went, all right, keep the bloody lantern, I'll just have this, because I like these, I forget what they're called, creepy, crawly thingies, but yeah, like them. Bought this for 50p. This is like a Looney Tunes baby plate, but it's from Wedgwood, which is unusual. But I thought for 50p, we'll take a punt on him as well. Bought this fella, guessing he's from Cars. He's like a little forklift truck and a little plane that I'm guessing is from Cars. He came with this little plastic tree and this little plastic log, and it was 50p for the 4, so bargain. Bought this, which is really nice. It was 50p. I picked this up first and put it down, and the lady said, just have that, because if you don't take it, it's going to the tip. All this stuff's going to the tip if I don't sell it. So I was like, all right, well, I'll have both of them for 50p then. Because of that, I had a bit more of a route around on their stall, and I found these things that we'll get to at the end, thinking that they would be very cheap, which they weren't, but maybe they're worth something. We'll find out. Bought this for 50p. Regular viewers might know I actually already have one of these seashell locket things, but I think they're very cool, so I had that for 50p. Bought this little bundle of bits here for £1, I think it was. So I think these are bootleggy type micro machines. I don't think these are legit, but there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them, and there was a little Thorpe Park magnet thing as well, and this little piece of plastic rock, which will be good for scenery on Dungeons & Dragons. So just under 10p a piece, can't really go wrong. Bought this little rock. I don't know if it's going to focus, but there's a coin on there, and it says, there you go, focused in the end. Oh, until I moved it again. The coin says, Luck of the Irish. Don't know why that coin is stuck to that stone, but that was 50p, and they had a little bit of amethyst that they wanted 50p for as well, so I gave them £1 for those two. There was a toy trader person who normally just has junk. I saw this in a little box, and they said, oh, everything in the box is like 20p. Then I found this. This is definitely a weapon from Toxic Avengers. I forget exactly which, or Toxic Crusaders, Toxic Avengers, the film. And I believe that might be too. It might be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but it's definitely a 90s accessory, so I bought those 3 for 60p. Bought this bag of plasticky autumny vegetables and acorns and leaves. That was £1. This was a little bit expensive. Bought this for £3. You put a little tea light in the back and the light comes through those little bulb eyes. That is going to be used for Dungeons and Dragons, and then the rest of the time it's going to sit on my shelf. Oh, I didn't see it had anything on the bottom there. But yeah, that was a bit expensive. That was £3. They did have some other quite nice stuff, but it was all very, very pricey. This was in someone's freebie pile, emergency snacks, and then this little key ring which had a little skull and crossbones on, and a little weird clip thing. So we had both of those for nothing. Right, I've got to be careful where I stand here. Bought this, the little Dungeons teddy bear. I don't know what Dungeons this is, the Dungeons, but he looked grumpy, and he's very soft and angry. So we had him for 50p. Haven't done any research on him. Bought this. I think this is £1. This is an official Glastonbury Festival water bottle. These are relatively expensive. Don't come by them very often. I have a fair few of them, not going to lie. I do like them as water bottles though, and this one's in relatively good shape. I think they're about £10 or £15 at the festival, but yeah, they're well worth it if you're on site, because you can fill up at different water points. Bought this for 50p. This is some Japanese The Stocking Tug of War game. This is going to go in the family's crap present game for Christmas. It looks like a fun game, and it's very Japanesey looking, and after my travels last year, we all like a bit of Japan. So there's a bit of story behind this little bundle of Lego here. This fella had this big box of Lego, and he had a sign that said Lego minifigures 50p, fill a sandwich bag £2, whole box £45. So I started having a little rummage, started pulling a few little bits out. The fella came over, said, oh, here are the sandwich bags. And then as soon as he was doing that, one of the traders came over, jumped in. He said, how much? I said, oh, look, there's the price. Showed him the price, and he went, where are the sandwich bags? And he just started grabbing handfuls and throwing it into the sandwich bags. By the time he'd filled, I think, 3 sandwich bags, half the box was gone. And I only picked up like a couple of little bits by that point. So he went, look, mate, I've got £6 there. Look how little's left in the box. Just call it a tenner. So the bloke had gone from 45 to 35. And now he was haggling on a tenner. And the bloke went, oh, make it 12. And he went, yeah, all right, 12. And he very kindly was like, you can keep the bits you've put in your bag. And I thought, well, yeah, of course, mate. I bloody put them in my bag. So I got a few little bits, some weird little spaceship looking thing that's probably worthless. Is that the girl from Frozen? I don't know. I was trying to make minifigures because they were all pulled apart, but I think that's like Superman's head and someone's body. I don't know if this is Space Mini or whether she's meant to look like this. Some other little minifigure, one of those Thomas the Tank Engine car things. Another little minifigure, another minifigure of some kind. This, which I thought might be something to do with Mario, maybe. There was a couple of these that are like little tiny crystals. They're going to be really good for Dungeons and Dragons. And another little tiny crystal. And I was trying to find like hats and things to go with other sets. I've got this weird chicken fella man. He does have his legs and his tail. 2 of these weird dolphins. This, which is very strange looking. I don't know what that's all about. A little Hello Kitty figurine, some sort of fire, which again I just thought would be good for D&D. So I paid £2 for that little lot, and the fella bought the entire box for 12. So never mind, I couldn't have done what he did. So got these pictures. I'll show them to you first if I can with a light a bit funny so late at night. They're mostly boats and boaty type scenery. That one's of a bridge, that one's of a tree. It's another sort of harboury scene. On the back they all say things like Frank Meadow, Sutcliffe, Whitby Harbour, 1875, from Camden Graphics, 1977. These were 10p each. I don't know if they have any value, but I thought seeing as I could buy 5 of them for 50p, I might as well have them and just see if they do end up having more value than 10 pence each. Bought this very nice Echo Unlimited t-shirt. It's got really nice embroidery all the way across it. Don't see very much Echo Unlimited stuff at the car boot. The woman said, I asked how much, and she was like, oh, I think it's new. And I was like, look, love, you can see there's stains on it. It's definitely not new. She was like, no, it's never been worn. Look, it has stains. And she was like, oh, okay, then £2. So I thought, yeah, £2 for a nice Echo Unlimited t-shirt. We'll do that. Person that sold me those autumny things also had these Glastonbury things. White, Sage and Rose. Sons of Vanguard, Witchcraft Emporium. These are just things you like light to cleanse the air or something. I don't know. But they were only 50p each. So we had both of those for £1. And I bought this for 50p as well. It's going to be some D&D prop, maybe. But 50p it was worth having. Same woman also had this Lion King board game. Don't know if it's worth anything. Haven't checked it's complete. She wanted £1.50 for that. So I paid £2 for that. Oh, excuse me. Including the hat. Right. My God, this cat's getting impatient. Bought this for 50p. This is the bad guy from the newest Turtles film, which I didn't dislike. The Turtles film was okay. It was voiced by Ice Cube. He's missing a wing. The guy also had some big foam weapon that, what's his name uses? Thor, when it's like a stick rather than being a proper thing. He said it was official and he wanted a tenner for it. I went back 3 times and tried to haggle with him, but he wouldn't go down in price. I tried telling him it wasn't official, but he wasn't having any of it. It definitely wasn't, though. So anyway, didn't buy that. Right. I'm going to do this bit, and then we'll do all of the other stuff that all came as one big job lot as one. So lastly, this stuff came from the people that I bought something from 50p for, and then said everything else went to the bin afterwards. So they had these weird little dancing pigs that say HR on the bottom. So I asked them how much they were, and they said £1 each. So I walked away, left them, wasn't interested in them, £1 a piece. I then asked what these were. Now these look really unusual to me. I picked one up, and they're like blown glass, but they're so small. How does anyone blow or melt glass to make these things this detailed? Sorry, didn't mean to swear. They're so fragile. So I don't know how I'm going to go about moving them on. But they are very, very fragile. So she said, essentially, a lot of them in here are broken. And she's not wrong. Like, this one's missing an arm there. I don't know if you can make it out. Yeah, she's missing an arm. So there is a lot of bits in here where they are partly broken. Like, that's a couple, but the girl's missing a head and he's missing a hand. And so, yeah, there's a lot of broken bits. And then there's a few bits that are a bit more complete. Maybe some of them it doesn't matter so much. That one looks pretty much complete, actually. Oh, she's missing something off her butt. Maybe she's meant to sit on something, like a bench. Maybe one of these benches. Oh, yeah, look, there's the rest of her butt on that bench. So maybe you could just glue her back onto there. I don't know. And then you've got other things that like this fancy little writing table, but it looks like one of the flames is broken off the top there. But yeah, incredibly fragile, blown glass. So I asked her, just out of interest, I said, I'm not really into this sort of stuff. It's not my cup of tea. But how much is that? And she said, it's 20 quid. So I said, forget it. You know, I wouldn't even take these pigs at £1 each. And she wanted 20 quid for this. So I said, no, forget it. I'm not interested. She said, I tell you what, no one else has really looked at it. If you want it, it can be 15. These aren't made of the same glass. So maybe I'll find use for those for D&D. Who knows? But yeah, so I said, no, I'm not interested. I don't know what they are. I don't know what they're worth. She said they're called Moreno glass or something like that. I can't quite remember the exact name, but it was something like that. Moreno glass of some kind. So I said, don't worry, not interested, whatever. As I walked away, I tried to have a little look on the internet. The only thing I could find quickly, and I don't know if I was spelling the name right or whether I remembered what she said correctly, I found something and it said orchestra set and it was like 200 quid. So I thought, well, maybe these might be worth something, but that's not a full set. They're broken. It's not 200 quid. They haven't sold for 200 quid. Just someone's got them listed for 200 quid. So yeah, don't really think it's worth it, that sort of money. I did notice they had this box right next to the other box, and these are like China animals. Now, these are very well painted, I have to admit. Someone really looked after these. They sound very fragile, but much like the glass things, they're in pretty good shape. I did not ask her the price of these animals. Yeah, I think the ones on the top that you can see are all the ones. I don't know how many there are. It looks like there's about 10 though, I would say. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, is that an animal? That's like an Eskimo of some kind. How strange. Or Inuit, I forget what they're called. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, there's at least 12. 13, if you include that one. So yeah, maybe there's 13, 14, something like that in there. Didn't ask about these. When it started getting on a bit in the car boot, it was about 10 o'clock, which is time for me to go home, really. I went back round and I said to him, look, what's the best you do on the glass? And then I looked at the animals because he was sort of umming and ahhing, and he said, well, the animals I'll do for a tenner, the glass I'll do for a tenner, and the 2 pigs I'll do for £1 as the pair. So I've paid £21 for these weird little animals, these weird glass things, and these 2 pigs. I have no idea of the value of these things. I don't know if they're worth anything at all. Maybe I just threw £21 away. Who knows? And then we come to all of this. Now, this guy was in the first row of the car boot sale, which means that he was there the longest. When he set everything up, he looked very much like a trader and he had prices on things. So I initially just walked past him and thought it's not worth talking to him. Then I went back at the end and he had this weird box of like individual toys. And I saw this Godzilla. It looks like it's meant to be holding something. It does have a bit of a tear there on his tail, which is unusual. And I asked him how much toys were in this box, and he said £1 each. So I thought, oh, well, that's not bad. So I grabbed myself a Godzilla. I grabbed this weird, cheap-looking knockoff insect transformer thing. And I also got this little dinosaur. I actually really like this dinosaur. It is incredibly cheap. Like, it's a hollow blow mold plastic. Very cheap hollow legs. Whoops. And a very cheap squidgy head. Really, really like this. No markings. Rattles like there's rubbish inside of it. But yeah, I really, really like this. So I picked them up for £3, thinking, you know, everything else he has is going to be far, far too expensive. So I had a little look round. He had this box here, which at the top of it you could see it had these like lanyard corpse cheap toys, and then at the bottom you could see there was this little handful of micro machines. So I pulled these out. There was like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So there's 10 micro machines. So I said to him, is this a job lot, this box? All of this corpy lanyard stuff and all of this down here. And he said, no, I refuse to split it. You have to take it as a job lot. So I had a little rummage in. Apart from those 10 bits and this little General Grievous, I think it is, Lego minifigure. I don't know. I don't really know that variety of Star Wars. Nothing else really took my fancy. This isn't good for Dungeons and Dragons or anything like that. But there is lots and lots of different bits. So I said, all right, mate, just give me an idea. What do you want for the whole box? And he said, £5. So I went, you know what? I'll take it, because that's like 50p each then for those little things, and the General Grievous for free. And then I've got all this other trash that I can take back to the car boot. Well, it was only when I got home that I found this piece of paper in there, and this is a Micro Machines laser attack airstrip. So I've got the instructions, and from the look of the picture here, I might actually have all the bits that go with this. So that might be a complete set. So that might be pretty good. So now I realised, like, maybe this guy's prices aren't as crazy as they look. So then he had this big box full of wrestling stuff. So I could see there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 big figures. And then there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 of the little figures. You've also got these 2 belts. That's a Stone Cold Steve Austin one from 1991. And there's an Undertaker one from, 1999. Undertaker one from 1999. There's the bits that fell off since I bought it that say Undertaker. They need sort of gluing back on. But it is 100% complete with its bits there. It has this Buried Alive ring. It has this Inferno match ring. And it has this big WCW Bash at the Beach ring. And this other WWF Action ring. There are lots of little bits and pieces dotted around that are probably bits of the ring. There's also a few accessories here, like this and this and this and that. And they also had these weird 2 bits in here too. Now, these I don't think are actually related to wrestling. I could be wrong. I'll do a bit of investigating. But that would be a good piece of a diorama for Dungeons and Dragons, as would those little bricks there. He also had this Austin little plastic hat and jacket, some like kids dress up thing. So I asked him what would he want for the box, and he said, I don't know, make me an offer. And I said, well, look, I'm probably not interested in all of it, but if I have to buy it all, give me a price for it all. Otherwise, just give me a price for these 2 belts and these 2 little bits that I can use as dioramas. And he said, I tell you what, I don't really want to split it. Why don't you take the whole box full for a tenner? So I was like, yes, mate. £10, 10 figures, 18 of those, 2 of those, and then all this other tat as well. It's got to be worth a tenner. So then we were on 10, 15, and I had 3 there. So I asked him how much he wanted for this, this is something I'm definitely keeping. I actually love this. This is a Disney Aladdin tea towel from back in the day. It might not look so nice on camera, but that is a thing of beauty. I will definitely be keeping that. He said 50p for this, so then we were on 18.50. I asked him what he wanted for these things here, and he was like, oh, I don't know, call it £4 for those. So I said, right, I'll put that down. If that's the expensive thing, that Pokemon thing, I just want this weird Gran and Grandad looking thing, because I looked at them, I was like, doesn't that look like the guy from Rugrats? But grown up, and then I found his tag, and it said on the tag Rugrats, I'm pretty sure. I can't read it now, but I'm fairly certain one of them said Rugrats on. So he said, I tell you what, if you're just chucking those in and not that, then call it £19. So I was like, yeah, happy days. He went to get the change, and then as he got me the change, I went, mate, would you just chuck this Pokemon Power Pairs matching game in, and then you don't need to give me a pound change? So he said, yeah, that's fine. So all in all, this massive, huge bundle here, all the micro machines there, those 3 action figures, the weird corpse, all the wrestling stuff, all of this, my God, that cat is literally climbing up the curtains to get to me. So we've got to end this video pretty quick. All of that was £20 exactly. So I think that was an absolute bargain. So we spent 20 there, 30 on that, 35, 40, 50, 57. I think we spent about 60 quid total, maybe a little bit less. So we didn't spend an awful lot today, guys, but I feel like we got some really good stuff. Sorry that it was quite a long video. It's quite a lot to get through, quite a lot to tell you. I feel like I've been not telling you stories of the car boot resale recently. So just to give you one little example of some fun stuff that happened today at the car boot. As I walked past one of the expensive house clearance guys, he had a few mobile phones, and someone said, "Excuse me, mate, how much are your mobile phones?" And he went, "Oh, 20 quid each." I was looking at some weird little toy cars that clearly weren't worth anything. Guy got his phone out, was checking the price of the phones on CEX, and the guy came back and saw what he was doing and was like, "Mate," and he snatched the phones off of him, and he went, I could just take them down the CX if I wanted. If you need to check the price of things on CX, then you don't know your trade enough, mate. Get out of here." And got really angry and started swearing at him. And the guy put his hands up and was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, really sorry, mate. I'll leave you be. Didn't mean to cause all this stress." But yeah, he really kicked off with him. But anyway, that was today's car boot haul video, guys. I think we did really well. Got some really cool pieces. Really chuffed. Hope you enjoyed the video and hope you had a good weekend. Bye, guys.